Thank you. Mr. Doggett is recognized.
Well, thank you very much. You know, we're on a countdown to shutdown. Not content with having shut down this House of Representatives with no legislative action for an entire 3 weeks at this time of challenges from at home and abroad, we are going to be 4 days from a shutdown of all of the government next Monday. We could be acting on this today instead of this nonsense, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, but no, Speaker Johnson and these Republicans have decided to delay it until the very eve of the shutdown and are expecting to resolve with the Senate all differences on some bill they have not laid out until at the earliest Monday and maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week. And so instead of dealing with that crisis, what we're dealing with today is wokeness. Now, they don't, as the hearing notice says, they don't really know what it means to be woke, but it sounds a little black, and it really appeals to the white nationalists that support, as part of the coalition that support Republicans, people that object to those who might be adopting policies to overcome historic injustices to people of color. Well, before it's too late, I think we need the Republicans to get woke and to wake up to reality. And that reality concerns the dangers of a government shutdown, the harm it will cause, and it also relates to the outrageous interference that is being proposed here today, just as it has across the country, in basic business decisions of responsible corporations. And I'll ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, to include in our record the 2023 State House report, Right-Wing Attacks on the Freedom to Invest Responsibly Falter in Legislatures, and another paper from Wharton, Gas, Guns, and Government's Financial Cost of Anti-ESG Policies.
Without objection, so ordered.
And turning to the first of those reports, this comment, what you have in front of you is probably the most anti-free market bill that you'll see this legislative session. A comment from the head of the Arizona Bankers Association. I'm just guessing he's probably not a Democrat. But bankers across the country have challenged and challenged successfully proposals just like that are being advanced this morning. The Wharton paper is more meaningful because, as is so often tragically the case, when something really bad is happening, Texas can get out there early and do it better than anybody else. And that's exactly what has happened with regard to these so-called anti-ESG policies. And what is ESG? Well, I expect most Americans know as much about ESG as they do about CRT, which is another phony Republican punching bag that's raised at election time. It is about responsible corporations that consider the environmental consequences, the social consequences, and their governance, corporate accountability, whether corporations are accountable to their shareholders, and whether when shareholders ask questions about things like how much corporate money is being spent in dark investments to promote anti-ESG policies just like this morning, that the shareholders can find out about it, that the social policies consider the diversity of the workforce and whether the corporation is out there trying to reflect anti-discrimination policies. But in Texas, we have experience with this because, as Mr. Isaac pointed out, they were successful in adopting legislation. And what was the effect of that legislation? As reported in this paper, a study, an objective study by one of the board members of the Federal Reserve and a finance professor at Wharton. Well, they point out that the effect is that about 5 major municipal bond underwriters, all the big names in banking, left the state. Texas issuers will incur $300 to $500 million in additional interest on the first 8 months after enactment of the bill. And if this same process continues, it will cost Texans about $416 million a year in additional borrowing costs. That's the kind of freedom that is being proposed here today. These policies, this interference with business in basic responsible decisions doesn't protect retirement funds, it costs retirees and local governments. All of this from a group that has gone from denying climate change to obstructing efforts to address climate change and now to trying to reverse action for responsible protection against the overheating of our planet, which any sensible person can see going on around them every day. I yield back.